Sports for Real with Coach Hall. You know, the purpose of coaching is to take whatever you have in place, shape it into a form that you can compete with, and then squeeze every ounce out of it to get the very best that you can out of your particular team. And that's the position I find myself in now. I told you guys several months ago that I was coming back off the sidelines and getting into the game. Well, I got me a baseball team, and my baseball team needs a whole lot of shaping up, primarily on the mound. Last night, played our first game, got cracked over the head, 17-0. But I'm not discouraged at all. I saw some good things, but the things that I thought I would see, I saw a whole lot of it. And it all centers around getting the ball across the plate. I told my team, if you can get the ball across the plate, make the plays that you should make, then we would be fine. Hitting, we'll get all that later. But the big thing is stopping the other team from scoring. We didn't do a whole lot of that last night, but that's the first time we ever taken the field, and I don't have all of the pieces in place where they should go. And basically what I'm saying to you, by the end of the season, we're going to have things pretty much together. Championship team, unless 2 or 3 players walk through the door that I can use, probably not. But at the same time, we're building something for the future, because I don't have a whole lot of players that are going to be leaving or eligible to leave after this season. So I'm encouraged by the future as long as I can stick with this particular program. But one thing that I thought about this morning, and I didn't really know what else I was going to say beyond taking this team and trying to develop it into something, is the fact that baseball, at least since I've been knowing baseball, I'm over 50. Been playing baseball before I was 10. So I've been involved with baseball 40-something years, either watching it, playing it, coaching it, whatever. And the one thing about baseball is it ain't changed a whole lot. Take football, for instance. How many rule changes have you seen in football just in the last 2 or 3 years? For years, football didn't change a whole lot. But when it got be touchy-feely and all the kids that couldn't play, you try to find a way to squeeze them out there on the field when they shouldn't be there, you're going to make the rules softer for them. And when you start doing that, you start to change the integrity of the game. Just imagine baseball if you took sliding out. It's kind of like what football is doing with the tackling. I mean, the basic element of football is to get the guy on the ground. It's not my fault if you have to get him down rudely, but it's a rude act in itself. So how can you say this is unsportsmanlike when it's the basic part of the game? Baseball, always going to be hitting, pitching. You got to slide. You take these major elements out the game, then you don't have the sport you thought you had. And that's what they have done to football. So as I thought about that this morning, I thought that, I've already been thinking about moving away from football. Maybe we should go back to baseball. Never really left it, just been away from the game for a while. But I think it's time to put football further away and go back to the things that haven't changed. Now, there's nothing wrong with some of the changes that football has made, but it all stems from the NFL. There's no official horse collar tackle that I've seen in high school football. But as soon as they started calling it in the NFL, then it became chic to call it in high school. So what I'm saying to you, everything that happens in the NFL trickles down to the lower levels, whether it applies or not. Football really is a kid's game, and kids should be able to tackle and hit each other without trying to put your head in a certain place, and you can't tackle it a certain way. I mean, you're destroying the game. And this is why I felt a few years ago that football is on its way out. If you're going to keep changing the rules or tweaking it to fit certain personalities, for instance, the NFL, they keep changing the overtime rules. From the time I was a kid, the overtime rules changed very, very little, if at all. You win the toss, you go down and score, you win the game. Then McNabb gets on the TV talking about he didn't know the rules of the overtime. And the NFL, okay, maybe we should look at that. And they go change the rules. And they changed it several times since then. College came up with overtime. They changed their rules to fit that. Now you change the playoff rules to make it look even more. But if you're going to have sudden death, which is what it should be, if you're going to say in the regular season these are the rules, why should it be any different in the playoffs? Because some teams got to the playoffs through those overtime rules. At some point during the season, say you win one game, and that one game is the difference between you and a team that didn't make it. But all of a sudden, you're going to change the rules when you get to the playoffs. Be consistent, man. And if nothing else, baseball has been consistent. I know it could be hard to watch sometimes, but when you're on the side in the dugout or part of the game, it don't drag on like that. It's a pretty interesting activity. And because it hasn't changed very much, and I thought about it, I think now is the time to give baseball its credit for not changing a whole lot over the past 40 or 50 years, unlike football. Another 5 years the way football is going, who's going to watch? People are already saying that the games are fixed. Certain players are champion over others. They're going to get certain calls that put the other team in bad shape. You get a call on the field where you do the replay. Officials don't make the call anymore. They're on the phone to New York. New York is making the call. So why not have people think that games are fixed when you have to get on the phone to call New York to look at the replay? Think about it. I hate to think that football is fixed, but I don't know. Baseball, there's not a whole lot you can fix there. I mean, you can steal some signs and do all kind of things to get away with underhandedly, but it's not going to be like football, where the referee in New York can determine whether you win or lose. Baseball, yeah, they got replay now, but in the big leagues, but in high school, it's a lot more pure. So let's give a shout out to baseball for not changing so much. And I'm telling you right now, you better kick me while I'm down, because I'm going to get a couple pieces and we're going to be back. And by the end of the year, we're going to be playing some pretty good baseball. And if I get all these kids to come back next year, then we're going to be the team that's shutting people out 17-0. So again, I got my head kicked there last night, but we're going to be a whole lot better for it. Keep an eye on us. This is Sports for Real.